Namaskar. Sorry, just manipulating different systems here because I'm also broadcasting on social media. I apologize. Let us begin. Thank you very much for that wonderful, wonderful introduction, and pranam, swagatam to each and every one of you this morning. Let us, as we begin, let us sit upright for a few minutes as we go into meditation. Prem se bolo Gajanan Swami ki jai, Prabhu Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. Let us focus our minds on Bhagavan Sri Ganesha, Prathama Pujye Vinayaka, the remover of all obstacles, as we ask him to come into our lives to set the pace for this discourse this morning, as well as for the rest of this weekend and the rest of our lives, to remove any and all obstacles that may stand in our way. We take a deep breath with our backs upright. As we inhale, we say so. As we exhale, we say hum. I and my Father, God, are one. One more time, and as you drop your shoulders, just relax. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Shri Ganeshaye Namaha, Shri Saraswatye Namaha, Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om. Prem se bolo Bhagwan Ramachandra ki jai. Goswami Tulsidas ji writes in the Sri Ramcharitamanas, a composition tonight that we will examine very closely, the lake of the deeds of Bhagwan Sri Ram. In the very first chapter or canto called Bal Kand, very first shloka, a beautiful invocation. An invocation to Lord Ganesha, an invocation to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, Mother Vani, the goddess of speech, and of course the sage Valmiki, the original author of Ramayana. Goswami Tulsidas ji puts pen to paper in Bal Kand as he writes Mangalashtakam very beautifully. Let us focus on that image of Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra ji. Varnanam Artha Sanghanam Rasanam Chandasam Api Mangalanam Chakartaro Vande Vani Vinayako Bhavani Shankaro Vande Shraddha Vishwas Rupino Yabhyam Binana Pashyanti Siddhaha Swantastam Ishwaram Vande Bodhamayam Nityam Guru Shankar Rupino Yama Shritohi Vakropi Chandraha Sarvata Vandate Sitaram Gunagram Punya Aranya Vrivahrino Vande Vishuddha Vigyano Kavishwar Kapishwaro. Prem se bolo Bhagwan Ramachandra ki jai. Goswami Tulsidas ji, author of the Ramcharitmanas, and Kabir Das ji Again, beautiful poetry glorifying Maryada Purushottam Shri Ramchandra ji. गिरा अर्थ जल बीच सम, गिरा अर्थ जल बीच सम, कहियत भिन्न न भिन्न। गिरा अर्थ जल बीच सम, कहियत भिन्न न भिन्न। बंदो सीताराम पद, बंदो सीताराम पद, जिन्हि परम प्रिय खिन्न। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। I reverence the feet of Bhagwan Shri Ram and Sita Ma, who, though seated to be different, are yet identical in just one word, and the meaning, or like water and the waves on its surface, and to whom the meek and the afflicted are most dear. Let me say a very warm welcome, swagatam, to each and every one of you joining, firstly from the International Hindu University's Zoom meeting. Several of us are on all across the world this morning. Those of you joining me on my very popular Facebook page, Pandit Dev Persad, as well as on my YouTube channel, and as well as on the Facebook pages and YouTube channels of the International Hindu University. Let me firstly say to Sonali ji and Shekhar bhai, thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to speak for a few minutes, to share on the essence of Ramayana with the alumni and with, of course, the members and the board here at the International Hindu University, as well as all the listeners and viewers worldwide joining us this morning for this 1-hour lecture. You know, Goswami Tulsidas ji says in Ramayana, Satya Samagama Hari Katha, Tulsi Dullabh Doi, Sutdara or Lakshmi Papi ke bhi hoi. It is only because of our good deeds or good past karmas that we are able to sit in the company of each other, beautiful souls like we are this morning, all of us on this broadcast, to sing and to chant and to listen to the glories of Bhagwan. This morning, of course, we are focused on Ramayana. But as customary, let us create that positivity. Let us create the positive energy, the vibrations, before we receive the Amrit of beautiful Ram Katha this morning as we sing and we glorify him. A beautiful bhajan dedicated to Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram. We sing the glories of Rama. Prem se bolo Prabhu Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. As we welcome each and every one. रामायण कथास हमको प्यारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। धन्य हो रामायण महात्म जी को, धन्य हो रामायण महात्म जी को, पुत्री से पुत्र बनाया प्यारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। पुत्र का प्रेम दिखलाए, पिता पुत्र का प्रेम दिखलाए, साक्षी है राम भगवान हमारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा। भातृ प्रेम रामायण गावे, भातृ प्रेम रामायण गावे, साक्षी है लक्ष्मण भरत हमारा, रामायण कथा हमको प्यारा, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। प्रतिवत धर्म रामायण बतलाए, प्रतिवत धर्म रामायण बतलावे, साक्षी है अनसुया और सीता, रामायण सबको प्यारा प्यारा, रामायण कथा सबको प्यारा। प्रेम से बोलो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भगवान रामचंद्र की जय। My dear devotees, there is one shloka, it's called Ek Shloki Ramayana, that summarizes the entire text of Ramayana. And that shloka we'll all chant together this morning. Adau Ram tapovanadi gamanam hatva mrigam kanchanam vaidehi haranam jatayu maranam sugriva sambhashanam बालिनी ग्रहणम समुद्र तरणम लंकापुरी दाहणम पश्चात रावण कुंभकर्ण हरणम एतद्हि रामायणम एतद्हि रामायणम एतद्हि रामायणम। प्रेम से बोलो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भगवान रामचंद्र की जय। एक श्लोकी रामायण, it simply means in English, once Lord Rama went to the forest and he chased and killed a golden deer. Meanwhile, Mother Sita, his wife, was abducted by Ravan the Rakshas, and Jatayu, a bird, was killed in the process. Lord Rama spoke with Sugriva, the unrighteous brother of, Lord Rama spoke with Bali, and he killed Bali, the unrighteous brother of Sugriva. Then they crossed the ocean and burnt Lanka, Ravan's city. Later, Lord Rama killed Ravan and his brother Kumbhakaran. This is the story of Ramayana. Beautiful Ek Shloki Ramayana. This morning's topic, the essence of Ramayana. So this morning I'll be quoting from several different poets and writers, as well as from the lips of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. My dear friends, the Ramayana is just not a story which happened a long time ago. You know, you encounter a lot of folks in the Western world, they will tell you Ramayana is nothing but a myth. Well, let us try to overcome that this morning. It has philosophical, spiritual significance and deep truth in it. The words rays, radiance, comes from the Sanskrit root word ra. Ra means light. Ma means within me, in my heart. So Rama is that light in within me. That which is radiant in every particle of a human being is Ram. The meaning of the name Ram is the ocean of bliss, the ocean of peace, the ocean of happiness. Rama was born to Dashratha and Kausalya. Dashratha means the 10 chariots. The 10 chariots simply symbolizes the 5 sense organs and the 5 organs of action. Kausalya means skill. The skillful rider, Kausalya, of the 10 chariots can only give birth to ocean of bliss, who is Rama. When the 10 are used skillfully, radiance is born within. Rama was born in Ayodhya. Ayodhya means a place where no war can happen. And the lesson here, my dear devotees and friends, is that in this heart where Rama resides, where he should reside, there should be no war. You know, Goswami Tulsidas, he tells us in Ayodhya Kand, when Lord Rama met the sage Valmiki, he asked at the top of his 14-year exile, he asked the sage Valmiki, "Oh, sage, please tell me, where shall I go and reside for the next 14 years? Goswami Tulsidas puts pen to paper as beautifully in poetry as he says, the sage Valmiki replies to Bhagwan Sri Ram in Ramayana. He says, Kam krodha madhmanana moha lobhan chobhan रागना द्रोहा, जिनके कपट दंभ नहीं माया, तिनके हृदय बसहु रघुराया। श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम, रघुपति राघव राजा राम। Kama, Krodha, Madhaman, Namoha. O Lord Rama, the sage Valmiki said to him, reside in the hearts of those who are free from the 9 negative qualities, or the 10 qualities that we speak about, the Dasharatha. The 10 negative qualities: hatred, anger, hypocrisy, deceit, malice, jealousy, etc., etc., etc. Reside in the hearts of those who are free from those negativities. This is what Ayodhya really means, devotees. In this mind or in this heart, there can be no conflict. And when there's no conflict, when there's no animosity, when those 10 negativities are removed, then and only then can radiance dawn. Then and only then can Ram Raj exist in our hearts. It is said, that the Ramayana is constantly happening in our own bodies. You see, our soul is Ram. Our mind is Sita. Our breath or life force, prana, is whom? Hanumanji. And our awareness, alertness, is Lakshman. Our ego, pride, Abhiman, is Ravana. And when the mind was stolen by Ravan, the ego, then the soul got restless. Now the soul cannot reach the mind on its own. It has to take the help of the breath, the prana. And with the help of the prana, the mind got reunited with the soul, and then the ego suddenly vanished. You see, the vehicle of the human life is drawn on 2 wheels. Follow me carefully now. The vehicle of human life is drawn on 2 wheels. The wheels are controlled by the senses, which are driven by the intellect, with discrimination and detachment as the reins now. The 2 wheels being time and action, kala and karma. The spokes of the wheel are the rules of righteousness, dharma. So we have kala, karma and dharma. Now, bound now by the rim of love, those 2 wheels are bound by the rim of love, prema. And the self is the rider, and it will not come to harm if the axle of those 2 wheels is truth, satya, and the goal is shanti, peace, eternal peace. Devotees, Rama was the exponent of the means of saving the self in this perilous journey from birth to death. Rama is the embodiment of dharma, and that is why he is able to re-establish dharma. If you go deeper into the Ramayana, you will find that Rama is the universal Atma, the Atma that's in every being. He did not come down on this mortal plane just to kill the demon ruler Ravan. He is not the son of Dashrath or Kaushalya, listen carefully, nor is he the husband of Sita, weeping for her loss and gladdened by reunion, the physical aspect. On the day when Lord Rama was crowned the emperor of Ayodhya, every person got some present or other before leaving that city. Hanumanji, you see, he alone refused any material gift, as you remember from scriptures. He asked Lord Rama to explain to him the mystery of his life, which he had indeed failed to understand completely in spite of his length of service and loyalty of his service. Lord Rama then asked Mother Sita to slate the first of Hanumanji and reveal to him the secret of their careers, or the reason why they were on planet Earth. Mother Sita announced that she was the primeval nature, Moola Prakriti, and that energy that agitates in all matter, the Maya Shakti, that transforms and transmutes into all this variety that binds and blinds. The Ramayana, she says, was nothing but the play she herself designed. I repeat, she said, Mother Sita, I quote, the Ramayana, she said, was nothing but the play she herself designed. Brothers and sisters, the name Rama is sweeter than sugar, ati sundaram, and the beauty of honey, madhuram. It is more tasteful than curds or dahi too. And as you go on repeating the name of the Ram, it tastes like nectar itself. Hence, this morning, let us take 2 minutes and repeat now the name, chant the name of Ram with all sincerity, with all positivity, full with love. devotees experience the bliss of the name of Ram. Prem se bolo Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Ram Chandra ki Jai. I ask all of you tonight, our satsangs, our kathas are very, very collaborative. So clap your hands and sing along with me as we glorify Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Ram Chandra ki.
राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। जो ना जपे राम, जो ना जपे राम, वो है किस्मत के मारे। राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। राम जी के नाम को शिव जी ने ढाया, तुलसी ने राम जी ते सर्वस्व लुटाया। कबीरा भजन कर भय मतवारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। राम नाम अमृत है, राम नाम चंदन, राम नाम देव जपे संत करे बंधन। महावीर राम नाम हृदय में ध्याए, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। राम 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 जपो, राम ही धियावो, राम नाम प्रेम जो घर घर जगावो। उन्हीं की शरण राम फल न गवारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। जो न जपे राम, जो न जपे राम, वो है किस्मत के मारे। राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे, राम जी के नाम में तो पातर भितारे। प्रेम से बोलो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भगवान रामचंद्र की जय। Chant the name of Rama. The Bhajan says, do not become like a stone. Chant the name. Whose fault it is if you do not chant the name of Ram? Our discourse of Katha continues, Pravachan continues. The Ramayana has been described as the story of Rama, the ideal man. You know, one great Guruji once told me, the Ramayana can be symbolized as WWWSRD. Now that's not a website, by the way. What does this mean? WWWSRD is acronym. If you ever have a question about life, philosophy, politics, employment, any subject matter, family, whatever the case is, you will find the answer in Ramayana. Why? The Guru says, W means what? The second W, in the world. The third W, would. SRD, Sri Ram do. What in the world would Sri Ram do? WWWSRD. Remember this, eh? Whenever you have a question that you're pondering on, you're looking for the answer, you'll find the answer in Ramayana. Ask the question, what in the world would Sri Ram have done in this situation? In fact, every human, in a way, is Rama himself. What do we mean by this? When we embody the ideals of Rama, we can become like Rama. Hence, it is imperative on the part of every individual to cultivate the ideals of Rama. The Ramayana enshrines itself in the very essence of dharma, righteousness, of the individual, the family, and society. Though thousands of years have passed since the story of Rama was first written, the inner story of the Ramayana is being enacted in every single moment of our life. Make no mistake. You see, the Ramayana does not signify the story of Rama alone, for the word Rama signifies Sita as well, doesn't it? Rama means Sita, the daughter of the earth. Since the earth is part of nature, Prakriti, every child born on this earth should try to cultivate the qualities of Sita Ma. The sage Valmiki at the beginning of the Ramayana was swayed by the idea that Rama was the ideal man. But during the course of his writing, he was overpowered by the feeling that Rama was divinity itself, and concluded at the end of the epic that Rama was the embodiment of divinity.
On the other hand, Tulsidas ji, he began his Ramayana with the faith firm that Rama was very Lord Narayana himself, and at concluding, emphasizing the fact that Rama was indeed the ideal man. Kamban, the author of the Kamba Ramayana, wrote in his Ramayana, moved by the feeling that man is God and God is man, Nara is Narayana and Narayana is Nara. Not so? The three great writers of Ramayana, they lent different dimensions to it, depending on their inner perceptions, like any writer would. Each writer who brought forth his version of the Ramayana added his own dimension in consonance with his own faith and his temperament at the time. By and large, it is fact that Rama Tattva, Rama's principle, has to be cultivated by one and by all. You see, devotees, the Rama principle is laden with many subtle secrets. The Rama story is an exemplary excellence, ethically, spiritually, and materially as well. And the story of Ram teaches us how a man should live in the world and conduct himself in the family as well as in society. It also teaches us how one should retain one's individuality and shape one's personality. Brothers and sisters, only when we can shape ourselves into a strong personality can we conduct ourselves ideally in the family and in society. Rama enshrined himself in all these qualities, and he shone as an ideal being. He also enshrined himself in the principle of equanimity, unity, and bliss. The principle of bliss is latent in every human heart. Every human has a right to realize and enjoy this principle of bliss, which is the Rama Tattva. Rama was the embodiment of the four cardinal principles that are truth, righteousness, love, and peace, satya, dharma, prema, and shanti. Rama was an embodiment of dharma, which is the basis for the entire universe. A true human being is one who follows and practices the principles of dharma. Burning is the dharma of life. Coolness is the dharma of ice. Fire is no ice without coolness. Similarly, the dharma of man lies in performing actions with the body and following the commands of the heart. Every act performed with thought, word, and deed in harmony is an act of dharma. Mantra and Bhajan say, all in unity. Thus, a dharmic life is a divine life. I repeat, a dharmic life is a divine life. When we say the word dharma without knowing it, it is true nature and majesty. You see, dharma is of various kinds. Dharma of a householder, a celibate, a recluse, or a renunciate. But the dharma of the heart is the supreme dharma. I repeat, the dharma of the heart is the supreme dharma. This dharma of the heart is verily the dharma of life as well. And the unity of thought, word, and deed has to be achieved at any cost. The Ramayana stands as supreme testimony to it. You see, the synthesis of humanity in divinity and divinity in humanity leads to totality, Purnavata. It is said, Purnamadam, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudakchate. This totally is present fully in human beings. The principle of Rama is most sacred, devotees, sublime and glorious. There is nothing in the world that cannot be achieved by cultivating Rama Tattva. Let me repeat this very important statement. There is nothing in the world that cannot be achieved by cultivating the Rama Tattva. Though thousands of years have elapsed since the story of Rama took place, the Ram Raj took place, the Rama principle is deeply imprinted in the hearts of the people. Brothers and sisters, the Rama principle is ever fresh, ever new, and embraces infinitude itself. You see, the Rama principle is contained in the smallest of the small and the largest of the large. The principle of Ram is not confined to a name and form. I repeat, the principle of Ram is not confined to a name and just a form. It is a transcendental principle which transcends time itself. The Rama principle lives as eternally blooming, blossoming, and bursting forth, not so? We will all understand that the true nature of humanity can be resolved or is realized by using and following the Rama principle. When God descends in human form as an avatar, Bhagavad Gita tells that Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkitam dharma sanstharpanathaya sambhavami yuge yuge. When God descends in human form as an avatar, we should not delude ourselves into thinking that the avatar is a simple human form like ourselves. Look back at all the avatars of Sri Vishnuji, Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Bhagwan Sri Ram, Parshuram, etc. His form may be human. Although his form may be human, his majesty and magnificence are infinite, not so? We should not mistake a white stone for sugar candy and munch on it. We should not mistake a cotton fruit for a mango and eat it. Why does God take human form? We should not be deluded by the form and deceive ourselves by this, devotees. You see, God has to take the human form and change the lives of humans by his own example. Rama led by example, didn't he? The emancipation of humanity is only possible only by taking the human form, so that we can relate, mortals can relate to that human form. It is only man who has descended to the depths of degradation by his utter disregard for dharma and divinity. Ramayana teaches us this. Man alone has disregard in his human dharma, whereas birds and beasts firmly adhere to their own respective dharmas, not so? Look at Jatayu as an example from Ramayana. There is no need for the avatar to arise among birds and beasts, since dharma has not declined in them. I repeat this very powerful statement. There is no need for the avatar to arise amongst birds and beasts, since dharma has not declined in them. Brothers and sisters, Lord Krishna declared, Paritranaya sadhunam, I will come down for the protection of the good. I will come down to earth for the protection of the good. The avatar hence comes for the protection of the good, to uphold dharma. There is no use merely lip-syncing Rama's name. Rama's name should not just come from the lips, it should come from the heart, devotees. It should come from the heart. And you must realize then that the Rama principle is first and foremost. The Rama Tattva is Prema Tattva. What is Prema Tattva? The principle of love. The principle of love. And we have to emulate Rama and transform ourselves by following what? What does Rama signify? The path of love, Prema Tattva. However deep and great our scholastic eminence may be, we cannot achieve anything without undergoing this transformation of the mind. The minute hatred slips in or takes charge or takes control of our heart or our mind, we cannot ever realize Rama Tattva. Rama does not know anything about hate or sadness or sorrow. Rama is the ocean of bliss. Similarly, the people in the kingdom of Rama, during Ramaraj, were always filled of gratitude and thankfulness. Any good deed, any good turn done to them, it never went unacknowledged, devotees. Never went unacknowledged. Even Rama, on the coronation day, on his day of coronation, he expressed his deep gratitude to all those who rendered help to him. First and foremost, Rama expressed his gratitude to the great Vanar hero, Pavanaputra Hanuman ki Jai, who traced the whereabouts of Mother Sita and rendered invaluable help to him. Secondly, Rama expressed his deep debt of gratitude to the bird Jatayu, who we just spoke about, who gave up his life selflessly while trying to rescue Mother Sita. Thirdly, Rama thanked the Vanar king Sugriva, who had placed his army at himself and at the service of Rama during this search for Mother Sita, and indeed the battle against the demon king Ravan. Next, Rama thanked Bhibhishan, who had helped Rama in wading through the webs of illusions created by the demons who had gone to do great service to Sri Ram. The Vanars belonged to another kingdom. They had nothing in common with either Rama or Sita, yet they willingly sacrificed their lives selflessly in the battle of Lanka. Devotees, to these Vanars, Rama did not fail in expressing his gratitude. In fact, Rama extended his heartfelt acknowledgement to each and every single one of them who had helped him in the battle. The Ramayana depicts the triple qualities of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And the relevance of Ramayana is not confined to a particular time, a place or circumstance, as we discussed before. It is a universal significance for all times. Its relevance is not limited just to India alone. The Ramayana holds out Rama as the embodiment of ideal qualities, a son, a friend, a husband, a master, a ruler, and he was an ideal without parallel. I repeat, Rama was an ideal without parallel. In the world, one may be an ideal son, but not an ideal friend. One may be an ideal friend, but not an ideal brother. But Rama stands out unique as the embodiment of all ideal attributes. Brothers and sisters, we should take a note. An important aspect of relating to the breaking of the bow of Lord Shiva in the court of Janak. Though that bow was broken, the string connecting the ends of the bow did not break at all. You see, for the two ends of the bow stand for Sita and Rama, Prakriti and Purusha. In fact, the bond between Sita and Rama, Paramatma and Prakriti is an unbreakable one, make no mistake. And the Ramayana demonstrates the inseparable bond between that Prakriti and Purusha. The Ramayana has been divided into two sections, the Purva Ramayana and the Uttara Ramayana. The Purva Ramayana deals with the valorous deeds of Bhagwan Sri Ram, his victory over indomitable heroes like Parashurama, Bali and Ravan. These events speak of the dauntless courage, the matchless valor and the immense physical and mental prowess of Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram. The Uttara Ramayana, the latter half, is suffused with Karuna. What is Karuna? Compassion. And seeks to install the Rama Tattva, the Rama principle, in the hearts of these people. Who are Rama, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan? The four Vedas came in the form of these four brothers to the abode of Dashratha and sported there. Rama was the Rig Veda. And Lakshman, who closely followed Rama, was the Yajur Veda. Bharat, who was delighted in chanting the name of Rama, was the Samaveda. And Shatrughan, who obeyed the commands of the three brothers and surrendered himself completely to them, was the Atharvaveda. Hence, the four brothers were the four embodiments of the four Vedas. Lord Rama was Pranava, Om. The three brothers are like the syllables of Om, Ah, U, Ma, in Omkar. Lakshman was Ah, Bharata was U, and Shatrughan was and the Lord was Pranava, Ah, U, Ma, Om. They all comprised Rama. We can realize the sacredness of Rama when we comprehend we can realize the sacredness of Ramayana when we comprehend its inner significance, as we are trying to do this morning. Instead of being absorbed only by the external form of the narrative, the story, so to speak, Rama exemplified three kinds of righteous behavior. Dharma, namely dharmas relating to the individual, the family, and society. And to uphold these threefold dharma, divinity manifested in a triangular role in the form of the Trimurtis, the triune form. The Ramayana manifested to elaborate human values. You see, the period of the Mahabharata was over 5,000 years ago, and the Ramayana predated that. It enacted eons earlier. Even after the passage of countless ages, if it's still occupying the hearts of people at large, you can well imagine its importance as it does today. There are two kinds of messages dominating the Ramayana. One pertains to Rama and the other pertains to Ravana. Satya or truth is the very form of man. Dharma or righteousness is the innate propensity. Satya and Dharma are the two eyes of man, and these eyes are the very forms of all the scriptures. Rama's message to humanity was to uphold Dharma and Satya, to stay in the path of these and fulfill one's life. On the other hand, the two principles of Satya and Dharma were the very opposite of Ravan's propensities. Brothers and sisters, at the point of death, Ravan sent the following messages to his people. I want you to listen to this very important point now. Ravan speaks. He says, "O my people," as great as he was, "O my people, do not follow my example. I am the personification of all evil qualities," says Ravan. "Falling into excessive desires, I have lost my progeny. Instead of establishing a good name for myself, I have destroyed my entire kingdom. Untimely, I have ruined myself. Rama achieved universal fame, and I have ended up accumulating ill fame." Ravan says, "Fame and disrepute are cognates. There is no Rama without Ravan, or Ravan without Rama. It is the bringing together of Rama and Ravan that is Ramayana. Good and evil are always present side by side, make no mistake. Pitch black hair surrounds a moon-like face, doesn't it? What is the inner significance of this? The shining forth of righteous fame, is intensified by the surrounding darkness of evil. It's just waiting on the outskirts. It is necessary for you to recognize the inner significance of the events of Ramayana. Hence, our lecture this morning. The Ramayana has very subtle truths embedded in it. The epic, first of all, expounds the duties of the individual. In the everyday world, any person's form is termed as the individual. And the duties of the individual taught by Ramayana are not relating to this external form of the individual. The unmanifest, the immanent, and the hidden values, human values, are indeed the essence of Ramayana. At the point of death, devotees, the hidden values and the truths, as mentioned, are indeed the points, essence of Ramayana. This is just a little taste, a very small taste, a droplet of the essence of Ramayana. We can go on and on and on, I'm sure, but time does not permit us to do so today. However, let us take away from this message this morning the key salient points that I would remind you or recall of. Let us always ensure that our minds, our thoughts, and our actions are in sync. Man krama vachanase, always in sync. Let us not, in other words, speak something else, do something else, and think of another area. All must be in sync. Secondly, always install Ram Raj in the Ayodhya of our hearts. Let this heart become Ayodhya. Remove all of those negative qualities that we spoke about. Devotees, this bhajan that we are about to sing tonight summarizes this katha. Amidst the battle of life, O man, sing the praises of Rama. In this battlefield, on this field, you shall find heaven and earth. Heaven and earth is right here. Yes? The Lord can be found here, as well as the eternal Om. There is no duty greater than chanting the name of Sri Ram. His powers are so astonishing that the sun and the moon created by him are both inexhaustible sources of light, even without a wick of oil. Sing the praises of Ram. Sing the praises of Ram. Sing the praises of Ram. Prem se bolo Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Ram Chandra ki Jai. Devotee, let us sing the praises of Rama this morning. Prem se bolo. Come on, clap your hands. We are collaborating on this beautiful Yakshala this morning. All of the listeners and viewers all across the world, let us sing and glorify.
Manwa re manwa जीवन है संग्राम.
Sing with me.
मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम. भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम. मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम. मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम. लोक यही पर लोक यही है, यही धारा और व्योम, यही धारा और व्योम. यही पुरातन नारायण है, यही सनातन ओ, यही सनातन ओ. इससे भरा नहीं कोई काम, इससे भरा नहीं कोई काम. भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम. मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम. मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम. इसके करतब अजब अनोखे, गजब के इसके खेल, गजब के इसके खेल. सूर्य चंद्रमा के दीप जले, बिन बाटी बिन तेल, बिन बाटी बिन तेल। यही सवारे सारे काम, यही सवारे सारे काम। बोलो भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम, भजले राम राम राम। मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम, ओ मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम, ओ मनवा रे मनवा जीवन है संग्राम। प्रेम से बोलो मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम भगवान रामचंद्र की जय। Devotees, as customary, we sing now Katha Visarjana ho to hai Sunahu Veera Hanuman. A beautiful bhajan again praising Pavana Putta Hanuman ji, Lord Rama, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan, of course, Sita ji ma. Prem se bolo Maryada Purushottam Bhagwan Ramachandra ki. Come on, clap your hands and sing with me. Katha Visarjana hot hai सुनो वीर हनुमान, रामा लक्ष्मण जानकी सदा करो कल्याण। एक घड़ी दो घड़ी आदो में पुनियार, तुलसी संघट साधिके खटे खोट अपराध। ओ जो जन जहाँ से आए हो, जो जन जहाँ से आए हो, कथा सुनो मन लाए। अपने अपने ध्यान को विदा होत हर्षाए। श्रोता सब आसन गए, शंभु गए कैलाश। रामायण मम हृदय महान, आन करहु तुम पास। ओ रामा लक्ष्मण जानकी, रामा लक्ष्मण जानकी, भरत शत्रुघ्न भाई। कथा विसर्जन होत है एकैसी सनवाई। धन्य घड़ी वहाँ याद की, जहाँ होत हरि नाम। नर के कौन कलाइए, जड़ी गई ये वह जाए। Let us sit upright as we offer these closing mantras. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us this opportunity to join in this beautiful discourse this morning, the essence of Ramayana, sponsored by the International Hindu University. We are very honored and pleased to be a part of this organization. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय। From untruth, lead us on to truth. From darkness, lead us on to light. And from death, lead us on to eternity. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim, परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं। परमात्मैष्ठार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं, बाबा विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि। परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं, परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिम्। ॐ शान्ति ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति
Om Shanti. Om. प्रेम से बोलो गजानन स्वामी की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, बाके वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय, भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। ओम नमो पार्वते पते, हर 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 महादेव। कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद. Thank you so much, listeners, viewers from all the different medias, Facebook, YouTube, and of course those of you on the Zoom meeting as well. I say to you, Koti Koti Dhanyavad. Let me invite you to join me every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my continuing weekly series of satsang program called Shivoham. This coming week we will celebrate our 94th edition, and for those of you interested, tomorrow as well, tomorrow evening from 6 to 8 p.m. we'll be celebrating an 80th birthday in satsang right here on these platforms. Again, to all of you on my Facebook channel, YouTube channel, thank you. Koti Koti Dhanyavad. May you all have a wonderful, safe and blessed weekend. Thank you for your time this morning, your precious time this morning. Love all, serve all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste ji.
For such enlightening and awakening Ravachan this morning.
Thank you.
My question is about striking a balance. As you said, Sri Ramchandra ji is Maryada Purushottam. That's the life he was supposed to live, yet he was a divine power. And there are so many things in it. He had to live his life like a human being,
Yep.
like what we are living. And similarly, if you see, there are so many things in Ramayana that we come across which are supposed to be seen either as a human being factor or they have to be seen with the third eye. For example, the role of Kekai, the most important role in Ramayana, right? And but at the same time, nobody wants to name their daughters Kekai today till now, right? And nobody would have their daughter named Kekai. Yet she was the one who did the most important role, because Ramchandra didn't come here to enjoy the Raj of Ayodhya or anything. He had come here to kill Rama, and she set up the stage for that. So how do we then strike the balance between what we see in Ramayana, what we read, and in our real life, in practical life? How do we strike that balance between the divine thoughts behind each and every thought that is presented in Ramayana and what you see, what your normal eyes would see?
Absolutely. Great question, Sri Manoharji. Can I ask where you logged in from? What part of the world?
I'm here in Miami.
Oh, you're in Miami. Okay, so you're my neighbor. Okay, great. So firstly, great question. Just to add to that, yes, no one wants to name their daughters Kaikai. And also, if we look back, if we understand that part of the scripture very closely, if we look at it closely, mantra also played a part in that. Now, who controlled the minds of mantra and Kaikai? It was Saraswati Devi Mata indeed. And Saraswati Devi Mata indeed was, of course, the incarnation of, not incarnation, but a form of the Divine Mother, who in fact, Mother Sita was. She designed this whole play. So that's one aspect of it to understand. But I think to your question, how do we strike that balance so that people can understand the true significance and the meaning of Mother Kaikai? It comes back to those of us who are in a role or in a position to educate and to shed light and to remove that darkness. And to what I mean by that is the knowledge. Like we have done this morning, we have made an attempt to open some doors and to open some light bulbs, so to speak. put on some light bulbs, to think outside of the box. What was the significance? As you rightfully said, Ramayana would not have been there if it wasn't for these two characters. So that is it. That is how we can strike a balance, by educating, by removing this darkness, removing the ignorance. And that responsibility falls onto people like you and myself, and also mainly through the International Hindu University. This is how we can accomplish this. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate your question. Any other questions? I think we have an open mic. All right.
So thank you everybody for joining. This was an amazing session, and we would like to invite Pandit Persad to come back and please enlighten us again. So we'll figure out a way to have him regularly at our university, because he teaches with a passion that inspires us all immensely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.